Guys. Happy Thursday. All right. Let's see. I'm actually going to pull something up while you guys are hopping on. Good morning. It's a beautiful Thursday here today. What do we got? 13th of May. Crazy sauce. Things are flying by. I will tell you though, life is going incredibly short for me because I am still without a vehicle, and it is really super stressful to be having to find a ride from someone every day to go anywhere that you want to go. Good morning, Michelle. So today is Vintage Market Days, and that is a really cool, super fun thing that we have that goes on. My mom and I like to go to Vintage Market Days together. It's kind of like our little cool traditional thing that we do. I'm actually trying to find something so that I can post it. Let me just see. I can't find it. I can always find it except for today. Hello. Let's see. Okay. How do I find this? That is not how I find this. Of course, now that I find it, or now that I need something, I can't find it. What in the ever living? Okay. I'm going to do something here and I'm going to find it somewhere else. Okay. Good morning, Lisa. Woohoo! Brooke, are you going today? So, yeah, I have to go to work for a little while, and then I took a half a day of vacation so that I could go to Vintage Market Days. But I have to have my mother come and get me because I don't have a car. So I'm like, sure, I can go with you to Vintage Market Days, but can you come and pick me up because I don't have a car? So it's pretty funny. Okay. I want to talk to you though today about something that I think is super important. And that's funny. No, I just actually saw a perfect, inspiring little thing. The universe whispers. Jan, hi. Which is cool because that's what we're going to talk about. So the universe whispers. What in the heck does that mean? Having a conversation with Dave this morning, and I was like, hey, and of course, I think like bubbly. Lisa, you must have got your bee socks. I'm very expressive, right? Even when we've been wearing masks, when I go, I've had people say like, they'll ask, like, are you sure that's okay? And I'm like, yeah, why? And they're like, because your eyes are reading something different than what you are. The dogs have figured out how to tumble with each other. So it's kind of like having a 5-year-old playing with a infant. So the dog they get going, and then the big gigantic lab forgets how big he is, and then he swats at the pup, and then the pup starts crying. So it's kind of a little bit chaotic, but I can hear them outside the door. Okay. I gotta find this. It's driving me absolutely crazy. It's a link that I made. What does it look like? I think it's pink. Hello. This is not supposed to be this difficult. Oh my word. I'm about ready to just. Yep. That's how. It was after Mother's Day. After that. This is what happens when I try to find a post and I post like 7. There it is. I found it. Okay. So yeah, we're going to go to Vintage Market Days. It's going to be cool. All right. So here's what I'm doing. Okay. So I have a Google business page set up. Okay, guys. And I'm copying the link right now. and I'm going to post it into the comments. So if you would like to, I would love it if you would be willing to do a review on my Google page. So I'm going to put the link in here, and then you will see it. And I hope that worked. I don't really know. It actually is not what I wanted to do. Why does this have to be so difficult? Okay, I'm going to try it like this. I really don't know what I'm doing at this point. I'm just typing. Okay, I'm posting a link. If you can see it, this link is the link for you to go and log. You have to log into your Google account. You can post a review. You need to please include in your review what you were dealing with struggling before and how my sessions or these daily videos have helped you with your issue. And then you will be entered to win a $50 gift card. I'm just trying to build my Google business page, and I will give that away on the 31st. Sorry, that was a long, drawn out 2-minute me trying to find this freaking link. Okay, there we go. All right, thanks for your patience. But today, whispering, listen to the whispering. So I was telling Dave, I'm like, isn't it so cool when you get into this higher vibrational state, how things just kind of happen? And here's another one, trust the timing of your life. And I think he was kind of like, what now? And I'm sure he understands more than I'm giving him credit for. He just is not as expressive as me. So he tends to not show, like emotion. Like when I have something happen, right? I'm screaming and I'm like a 2-year-old and I'm like, well, this is the best day of my life. And Dave's more like, that's cool. So I said, a couple of things have happened for him, and hopefully he's okay. I hope you're okay with me talking about you. A couple of things have happened lately that I was like, see how cool that was? So I'm going to use that example because I think it's a really great way to show you how the universe, how God, how higher source gives things to you. But if you aren't really careful, you won't notice that it's happening. And at least for me, I feel like when I don't notice that it's happening and I don't give that gratitude back out, then it stops happening for me. So I'm in that like super high spot where everything's beautifully happening, everything's beautifully flowing, but I'm also in this really high state of giving back gratitude. So, for example, I told Dave, I said, look at your past week. Look at how the universe is just beautifully handing you stuff because you're vibrating on a higher level. You are at this different frequency. And he's like, okay. And I said, rewind back to like an issue that you had at work. It just so happened that some people were exactly in the right place at exactly at the right time for this beautiful opportunity to happen for you. And that's how it works when you are, manifesting and doing these beautiful things. It's not always an affirmation for, I'm going to get a McLaren. That's a car, by the way. My 5-year-old is infatuated with McLarens. So that's what our dog's name is. Our puppy's name is McLaren. So anyway, it doesn't work like that. So I sit and I manifest, right? I want a McLaren. I want a McLaren. I want a McLaren. I want a McLaren. I find that if you manifest in a different way than being super specific about a material item like that, and you manifest that, I want things to beautifully happen for me. You give the universe more control to give you stuff without it being like, I want a McLaren. In a way, right? In a way, it kind of feels a little snobbish to me to be like, I want a McLaren. But if I'm like, ooh, I want a beautiful opportunity to come forth for me today, it doesn't matter how big or little it is. It's all about noticing. So I was telling Dave, I'm like, so see how that beautiful thing happened for you. I'm like, right? There were just some people in the right place at the right time. And this happened for you. And he's like, okay. And then I said, all right, now let's fast forward again. I said, we're having issues with our water heater, water boiler. And so I did a session on my water boiler, which to some people, they were like, okay, what now? You're changing the energy around the object. Yes, the water heater does not have feelings. It doesn't have energy quite the same as we do, but it still is a source of energy. In fact, it's quite a source of energy. So I did some clearing around the water heater. Now, does that mean that the water heater will magically fix itself? No. Can it? Yes. But here's the cool thing that happened with that scenario is that Dave ran into someone that he hasn't seen for, I don't know, I would say 2 years maybe. And he just so happened to run across this guy. And the conversation somehow led into, because he's a plumber, somehow led into Dave having the intuition to ask him, hey, have you ever worked on a boiler system before? And this is a guy that's like fixed our sprinkler system. So that's not really necessarily like the first thing that's going to come into Dave's mind, but that's how it works. Like the universe gives you the impression or the intuition to do something. And so Dave asked him like, hey, by any chance, have you ever worked on a boiler system before? And the guy's like, oh yeah, I've installed tons of boiler systems. And so then Dave was able to say like, hey, this is going on with our boiler system. And the guy was like, oh, check these two really simple things and make sure that that's not what's going on with it. And gave him some like ideas that he could do where he could just, go to Lowe's and get a $10 part and put it on there instead of us having to call to have someone come and look at our boiler, which just having them come, we have to pay a service call. And I said, ta-da, hello again. That's how this works. The universe gives you these beautiful opportunities or places someone in your path that has the ability to help you. And that, my friends, is how the beautiful affirmations come to you. Next one is that Dave, for those of you that are offended by hunting, I get it, but let's not take this to that level. So Dave has, he has been hunting all his life. He has put in for specific tags, and there is one that you can only get basically once in a lifetime. And you have to have so many points, and supposedly these points help you get this draw of this tag. And there are lots of people that he knows that have more points than him, that have been in the system longer, whatever. So Dave comes in the other day and shows me this email. I have no idea what it is because I really don't get into all that stuff, but he's like, look at this. And I'm like, cool, you got a muzzleloader deer tag. That's super. And he's like, yeah. And then he shows me the next one and it's an elk, and he didn't draw an elk. And I was like, okay. And so I'm like, why is he showing me this? Woo, you got a deer tag. Super. Woohoo. And then he scrolls down and shows me the next one. And I was like, what? And he's like, kind of a little bit in shock. And I'm like, beautiful things happen to you when you were vibrating at a higher level. That is how it works. So it's really cool. And I said, now, okay, here's the key. You got to sit back and you got to acknowledge and you got to have gratitude for the beautiful things that have happened for you so that, right, the universe will continue to open these opportunities for you, but also because gratitude helps you to stay on that higher frequency vibration. And so sometimes you got to be quiet and you got to listen and let things flow. If you're forcing stuff to happen, which is really easy to get into that spot because you really, really want it to happen, but then you force yourself into this, you almost start resisting it because you're focusing on it too much. So if you're like trying to get a new job or trying to have a baby or trying to whatever, you actually start resisting it because you're forcing it too much, where you really just have to sit back in the moment, take a deep breath, and just think to yourself, I'm going to allow this to happen for myself. Okay, so I'm going to recap. If you see the link, I would love it if you would go and log into your Google account and post a review for me. It means a super ton as I'm working on building my Google business platform page. Just like I said, you don't even have to have done a session with me necessarily. Just if you're like, hey, Amy's videos in the morning really inspire me, or her Monday Soul Deliciousness, I was really feeling down and depressed before, and now it really helps me get on my whatever. Just the before and after is really what I'm looking for. Okay. And some of you have had some miraculous things, like you're pain-free, or you've seen amazing things happen with your health when you're getting like testing for things that you've been diagnosed with, whatever that is. So I super appreciate it. Okay. Socks that I am wearing today. So I'm going out in public, and what screams more than do not screw with me than the Grim Reaper riding on a horse? Is it a unicorn? No, it's actually just his horse. Right? It kind of gives off the, maybe I shouldn't mess with her. Since I'm going out in public, I got to put on that extra protection. And then I'm just going to wear cute Jack and Sally today. Jack and Sally on their heel. Great time at the end of the movie, right? Where Jack finally realizes how much Sally has done for him because she's so in love with him. And it's such a great moment on the hill. True love. Okay. You guys, all right. Love you lots. Thanks for joining. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And if you happen to be at the Vintage Market Days in Cache County today and you see me, just remember that I'm actually very socially awkward out in public. So if you say hi and I don't know what to say to you, it's just because off of my computer screen, I'm very socially awkward. Okay, have a beautiful day. See you guys. Thanks.